Welcome to the Geopolitics Snapshot. This time we got very interesting news from the Caucasus. On April 19, 2024, it was announced that an agreement was reached between Armenia and Azerbaijan on delineating a small section of their northern border. More specifically, 4 abandoned villages close to the border with Georgia are supposed to be returned to Azerbaijani jurisdiction. These Azerbaijani villages were inhabited in Soviet times, but during the First Nagorno-Karabakh War, they were abandoned and then controlled by Armenian forces. We can see what areas are affected in this tweet here by a spokesperson of the Azerbaijani Foreign Ministry. The regions now marked in red will be returned to Azerbaijani control, with some areas being controlled by them already. The Armenian military, which currently controls the remaining areas, is poised to withdraw, and the agreement must be ratified until May 15th. The agreement, however, did not include a solution for the Azerbaijani exclaves, which are the 2 areas in green. They remain under Armenian control for now, but the Armenian Foreign Ministry's press release mentions that the next step would include resolving this problem as well. According to the office of Armenia's Prime Minister, this transfer won't impact Armenian villages aside from one road that will have to be shifted to not go through Azerbaijani territory. Now this is a really significant development for the region. The delineation of the Armenian-Azerbaijani border has been a major condition for a formal peace treaty set by the Azerbaijani leadership, and achieving a formal peace treaty seems to be the only way to ensure that there won't be another war between the 2 countries. Tensions have been extremely high, especially since Azerbaijan's short 2023 offensive in Karabakh, which forced the last remaining Armenian separatist forces to surrender and brought the rest of the Karabakh region under Azerbaijani control, and prompted a majority of the 100,000 Armenians living in Nagorno-Karabakh to flee to Armenia proper. Unsurprisingly, there have been concerns that another military escalation could occur ever since, especially if Armenia and Azerbaijan do not manage to agree on a number of issues. That includes delineating the entirety of their border and finding some arrangement that will allow Azerbaijan to access its Nakhchivan exclave through Armenian territory. Peace talks sponsored by the US and the European Union on one side and Russia on the other were unsuccessful, and the current negotiations between Armenia and Azerbaijan are conducted on a bilateral level, which gives Azerbaijan more leverage in the process. While some have called this agreement historic, it's still unclear whether this will be the first step towards a real peace deal or whether the border delineation could eventually fall apart. The delineation is unpopular in Armenia. It is seen to come at the expense of Armenian territory without providing any concrete security guarantees. The land that is now returned to Azerbaijan is considered strategically valuable, as one of the main roads that connect the region with Georgia runs through here, as well as a gas pipeline. But the main problem for Armenia is not the transfer of these 4 villages, but rather the uncertainty of what the border delineation will mean for the country down the line. As the delineation progresses, it's likely that there will be more controversial demands made by the Azerbaijani side. For example, Azerbaijan could demand the transfer of a small land bridge connecting its exclaves to Azerbaijan proper. Then there is the whole border section with Karabakh, whose delineation is going to be a much more emotional process considering the events of 2020 and 2023. And then we have the most strategically impactful issue, the Zangezur Corridor. Zangezur is a historic region in southern Armenia and Azerbaijan that lies in between Azerbaijan and its Nakhchivan region. This separation is a huge logistical problem for Baku, which seeks to solve it by establishing a corridor. What it would mean in practice is not entirely clear. Current Azerbaijani proposals envision the corridor to remain as Armenian territory, but to be guarded by Russian peacekeepers and be accessible to Azerbaijan without any restrictions or border controls, which has been rejected by Armenia thus far. Therefore, there are concerns that Azerbaijan could simply aim to annex at least part of the region, as some Azerbaijani policymakers believe it to be historic Azeri land and would consider it revenge for the long Armenian occupation of Karabakh. Despite all of this, Armenia's Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan has been clear that he is willing to give in to Azerbaijani demands to a certain degree. His primary goal is preventing a full-scale war with Azerbaijan, and that is a daunting task. He not only has to balance Azerbaijan on one side, but also Armenian voters on the other. Researching this video was also a daunting task, because the story was not widely reported after it was announced. This is why before I continue talking about Armenia's situation, I want to quickly shout out this video's sponsor, Ground News, which has been an incredibly useful resource for making this very video. Let me show you. With ground news, I can search for a specific story and get a comprehensive overview of all the news sources that reported on it from across the world. Here it tells me that until now, 33 news sources reported on the village transfer in total. And I'm able to easily compare international headlines. This coverage from Turkey, for example, portrays the transfer very positively, while this Serbian article focuses on the reaction by UN General Secretary Antonio Guterres. But that is far from the only thing ground news offers. It also gives me a lot of other useful information when looking at international news, like how those news sources lean politically, how credible their reporting is, and who owns them. This is important when looking at domestic news as well, whether you are from the US, Europe, or from anywhere else. Knowing which side of the political spectrum reports on what issue in what way is crucial for understanding the world around us. And ground news makes this a whole lot easier for me and can make it easier for you too. By going to ground.news/paint, you can get 40% off Ground News Vantage Plan. Thanks to Ground News for sponsoring this video, and now back to the topic at hand. To understand why Pashinyan is nonetheless willing to go through with border delineation, we need to take a look at the very difficult situation Armenia finds itself in. The country is confronted with a potential escalation with a powerful neighbor that has proven to be militarily and economically superior, and Azerbaijan has made it clear that it has no reservations about taking military actions against Armenia once more if its political demands are not met. Not only that, but Azerbaijan can also count on significant support from its close ally Turkey, one of the region's greatest military powers. And to make matters even worse, Armenia itself cannot count on game-changing support from any outside actor. Just look at its options. Firstly, we have Russia, which until recently has been Armenia's closest military ally, but after the events of 2020 and 2023, Russian-Armenian relations have worsened significantly because Russian peacekeepers were unable or unwilling to intervene in Azerbaijan's offensive in Karabakh, and in response, Armenia has stopped participating in meetings of the Russian-led CSTO alliance and sought closer relations with the West. This alone would be enough to rule out Russia, but then there is also the fact that Russia is completely preoccupied with its war in Ukraine, so even if Russia was willing to intervene on behalf of Armenia, it simply couldn't. Secondly, we have several Western actors which have shown varying degrees of interest in helping Armenia. The European Union and the US tried to act as mediators multiple times but have conflicting interests. The EU, for instance, has launched a civilian mission to monitor the Armenian-Azerbaijani border at the invitation of Armenia, but also plans to double the amount of gas it buys from Azerbaijan. The US, meanwhile, does not want to push Azerbaijan towards Russia, and on top of that, both are completely preoccupied with what is happening in Ukraine and the Middle East. Another Western actor that deserves a special mention is France, which has historically had good relations with Armenia. Recently, France sold a significant quantity of military equipment to Armenia, with negotiations being underway for the purchase of short-range missiles as well. France recently even recalled its ambassador from Azerbaijan, showcasing how unhappy France is with the entire situation. Despite this, France seems to be an unlikely candidate either. It is too preoccupied with the war in Ukraine and its loss of influence in North Africa, and if push comes to shove, it will simply be too far away to make a meaningful difference, even if it wanted to. That leaves Armenia with one last regional power that could get directly involved: Iran. Iranian officials made several statements that they would get directly involved in the conflict if Azerbaijan was to attack Armenia's southern border region. Now, I know that might sound weird at first. Why would Iran, a Shia Muslim theocracy, be interested in protecting Christian Armenia from Azerbaijan, which despite being secular, has a predominantly Shia Muslim population and also shares deep historic and cultural ties with Iran? Well, the biggest reason is Iran's concerns of separatism in its northwestern regions, which are predominantly inhabited by ethnic Azeris. A strengthened Azerbaijan could therefore create nationalistic aspirations. And another factor is Azerbaijan's relationship with Israel. Now, luckily for Armenia, there is currently nothing going on that could possibly distract Iran from supporting it. Oh, well, in that case, Iran seems to be out of the picture as well. As you can see, the situation between Armenia and Azerbaijan continues to be extremely complicated, and we can only hope that compromises can be achieved to finally ensure peace in the region. That's it for the first ever Geopolitics Snapshot. I will release more snapshots in between my regular explainer videos, which take much more time to produce. Tell me what you think of this new video format in the comments below. A big thank you to all my patrons and channel members, and until next time.